Welcome to the Beyond Jiu Jitsu Podcast, episode number 49. Today, we are talking about entering 2022 with a competition mindset because this is the first official episode of the new year. So happy New Year.
Happy New Year, bitches.
So get the most out of your year of jiu-jitsu is the topic for today.
Yeah, it doesn't necessarily have to be 2022, more just we'll talk a little bit about our goals for the coming year, but you know, for anyone who's into making New Year's resolutions or for people who just want to set some goals for your year ahead of jiu-jitsu, you know, what should that look like? What is it looking like for us? And do you just want to copy paste that? You know, that's how I got through school. Copy paste
our goals.
I once handed in a geography assignment that I don't know if people remember this. Actually, I don't even know if this is still how it works if you were to copy something from a website. I'm not sure. But anyway, I was handing in a geography test and I was literally just not test, an assignment. And I don't even know what it was on. I can't remember. But I would just go to a website and I would just literally like copy the text and like paste it into a Word document or whatever. But it was, I don't know if this is still a thing, but it would paste it with the web URL like at the bottom of the Word document.
Yeah, that's still a thing.
Yeah, right. And, you know, I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't know how to get rid of it or whatever. So anyway, I just did this whole assignment, printed it out, had like the URL and everything at the bottom of the piece of paper that I printed out. And I was like, oh shit, that's not good. So I just got like a pair of scissors and I just cut the URL off. So I had these A4 pieces of paper that weren't an A4 piece of paper anymore. And I was like, put it in like a binder or something, handed it in, fucking 100%, bro. And I was like, you know, at the time I was like, yeah, I can't believe she didn't notice. But for sure the teacher was like, what a moron.
Yeah,
it's like, fuck it, bro. She's like, I'm just going to give him 100, whatever. Yeah. He used a lot of cartridge ink.
Yeah.
I'll let him have it.
Yeah. And fuck, if you're a teacher, you got to like mark like 50 assignments. You're like, fuck it. You know, you read the same lines from the same websites over and over and over again.
Yeah. I don't know if this was, if this still is a thing, but I can't remember what year I was in at school. But here in Australia, there was, maybe it was year 10, which is, you know, for any international listeners, year 10 in Australia is your last year of mandatory school, like high school or secondary school, whatever other countries call it. It's your last year of mandatory school. You can then, at the end of year 10, you can leave if you want, or you can stick around and do year 11 and 12, which is where you do like your harder high schooling years. And it's typically what is where you, what do they call it in the US? Like their SAT scores and stuff. Like the end of year 12 is when you do the exams that, depending on how you go on those exams, kind of will set the standard of what university you could get into. Right. So year 10 is the end of your mandatory high school. And in year 10, I believe it was, for history, you had to write like a 1,500 word or some, you know, at the time, the biggest, you know, essay you've ever written in school, however many word essay about something to do with Australian history.
Yeah, I remember that. Because to year 10, it's been like, I don't know if it's still like that, but up to year 10, like they just smash you with Australian history.
Yeah.
Like,
it's
all your history and it's real boring.
And
so boring. Sorry, Australia.
Yeah, sorry, Cuba. One of our students who's a history teacher.
Oh, dude, sort the shit out. Well, we can ask him if it's still a thing.
Yeah. But they went as far as to say, like, you're not allowed to do this assignment on the history of Holden and Ford, like two major car manufacturers in Australia, because it was just like, I don't know, at least where I grew up, it was like, they're like, we've had more essays of Holden and Ford than you could imagine. Like, you're not allowed. Like, if you do Holden and Ford, you instantly fail.
Yeah, fair.
You know?
Like the competition between them. Yeah, it's interesting.
And I think I did mine on
jiu-jitsu.
Australian bush rangers.
Oh yeah, that's cool. I'm related to one of the bush rangers.
Which one?
His last name's Power. I'm blanking.
I say that like I know.
Yeah, which one? I know all of them. I forget his. Oh man, how can I forget his first name? Anyway, he's in like museums and shit. He was a bad dude, but he was the guy who trained Ned Kelly.
Yeah, right.
Internationalists probably know Ned Kelly.
Ned Kelly's like the only bushranger I really know
the
of.
infamous one. He was in his crew and he trained him when Ned Kelly was younger. And I forget, something Power.
If international listeners are like, what the F is a bushranger? Kind of like, old outlaws like back in. I mean, they would probably be the equivalent of in the US and in movies when you see, like the old wild, like from the Wild West days. Yeah, sort of.
And they legit like, rob banks, kill people.
Yeah.
Highway robbery and shit like that. They're bad people. But I was related to one of them. I am related to one of them, not was. Anyway, we're talking about jiu-jitsu. Talking about goals for 2022. So, ads, 2022. Now, we've come, I think the whole world has sort of, for 2020 and 2021, it's been a little bit stagnant for a lot of people. Like, good and bad things have come out of lockdowns and COVID. That's the elephant in the room. No one's fucking, unless you've literally been hiding in a cave, you're aware of it. Coming into 2022, because, vaccines have rolled out and blah, 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 we're expecting less lockdowns. We're expecting things to come to a new normal, as they're coining it. Based on that, assuming that things, are smooth sailing, what are your goals for 2022, jiu-jitsu-wise?
Well, when I think about setting goals, I can't remember if I've asked you this before. Ages ago, we had an episode where we went on about how I couldn't believe you didn't know who some certain famous people were, and I didn't know who
Marcus Aurelius,
some like
buddy
Goggins, gagging something dude is. Do you know who Wayne Gretzky is?
Yes.
Probably because I told you. Yeah. Ice hockey player.
Yep. Uber famous.
So anyway, I believe it's Wayne Gretzky has a famous saying of something along the lines of, you miss 100% of the shots you don't take. So, in that same light, I feel if you just don't even set goals, you can't not achieve them, so just don't set any goals.
Right.
Yeah. That's 2022.
We need a button that's like crickets. Like
I know. I was thinking just yesterday,
crickets button.
Just yesterday, you were like, I need to put in a little like crickets button on this soundboard.
Yep.
No.
Well, that's my goal for 2022 is have some more sound buttons to comically
feel
introduce
silences.
Yeah.
I don't like. I'm not a big goal. Well, no, like I'm a goal orientated person. But I don't necessarily make lists of what my goals are. But I definitely have some things that I want to accomplish this coming year. In the last episode, which was the last one of 2021, actually aired on New Year's Eve, we spoke a bit about New Year's resolutions and things like that. Yeah, I definitely don't set New Year's resolutions, but I do like to have some sort of umbrella goals that I would like to achieve that year. And sometimes it might be something as, just ignoring jiu-jitsu for a second. It might be something like, I'm gonna buy that new car this year. I've been wanting a new car for ages. This year I'm getting it. So sometimes my goals might just be like that. But for
buy a new pair of shoes.
Yeah. Oh, dude, I hate shoe shopping. God, I actually pretty much never buy new shoes until my wife's like, those shoes are rank. You need new shoes. And I'm like, well, I've only got 2 holes in them. They're still good.
It's still good.
Yeah. No, I hate buying shoes because, man, I'm really tall and I got big feet.
What size feet are you? Like 14?
Like 13, I think. US 13.
Man, that's huge.
Yeah. Depends on the brand. Sometimes maybe a 12.
Yeah, right.
Like a US 12.
I'm like in boots, it changes. I hate boot sizes. Anyway, I'm derailing, but I'm like a 10. Yeah, I'm pretty small.
Have small feet.
Yeah.
Every time I try to like toe hold you, I'm like, wait, directed the foot.
I forget who I was talking to Yali and Anthony, 2 blue belts at our gym, about heel hooks the other day. And we're talking about just like, joking around, let's catch ads in a heel hook. And then someone mentioned how fucking massive your heels are. And I had a look last night. Like, they're disproportionately huge, man.
Are they? Man.
You've got fucking massive heels, dude. They're big, knobbly, fuck off heels, mate.
Man, it's a real problem because when I'm in leg entanglement positions, even when my leg is for any other person would be considered a safe position, my heel is still out dangling. Even in positions where my opponent doesn't have my knee line, my heel will still be there. And okay, they may not be able to heel hook me because my knee line's free, but they can still like dig the heel, put torque through the ankle, and then I'll be forced to give up whatever position I'm in or whatever I'm attacking to rotate out. They won't be able to finish it because my knee line's free, but they're able to put me to actually I have to divert my attention to it. It is a big issue, bro. My heels,
your fucking heels are a mile long, mate.
Yeah, dude, they're
massive.
ridiculous.
Take a photo. We'll put it on Patreon for all the feet people. Yeah. But
we got a few of them. Those feet fetish.
Yeah, on our Patreon. Yep.
I wonder if there's any people. There would have to be some people who are into jiu-jitsu and have like feet fetishes and like, you know,
like heel hookers.
Full on. Yeah,
that's
like
weird, man. It's so weird.
Goals,
so we're talking about goals.
2022.
Yeah.
So yeah, I do have a few things. First is that, you know, now coming into the new year, I'm about 6 weeks post elbow surgery, and about 5 weeks post. I've had 2 surgeries in the space of like 10 days. One for my elbow. A bunch of like bone spurs and fragments had to be removed from my elbow. It wasn't one traumatic injury, it was just years of wear and tear on the joint. But I also, completely unrelated to jiu-jitsu, had a deviated septum surgery that they had to go back in, and I kind of teed up this elbow and nose surgery, sinus surgery at the same time so I could recover from both. So coming into the new year, they're both pretty much towards the end of their rehab. So the first goal I have is just to get back to training, right? I did 3 months of lockdown and then trained for 1 week until my elbow got really bad.
Yeah, and I remember like you weren't even risking it. It was that painful for you.
Yeah, so now coming into the new year, I'm pushing like 5 months of no training really. So that I mean, part of it, it's more or less out of my control, but it is what it is.
Yeah.
So goal 1 is just to get back to training, but then there's also the upcoming Subversion card, which Subversion here in Australia is like a little. It's not comparable to Who's Number One, of course, but it's like a similar format in the sense that you've just got your one opponent. You know, like it's just like a super fight. It's usually submission only. They have gi matches and no gi matches. So I'm supposed to be fighting on the Subversion card, which is the same card that Jeremy Skinner's fighting on.
Yeah, we spoke about that in the podcast.
Yeah. We had Jeremy on episode
like 31 or something.
31, something like that.
Yeah,
Hang on, let me pull up my
$10 on 31 because JT was 29. So yeah, definitely.
Episode 31.
Episode 31.
Look at you go, bro. If you could remember jiu-jitsu techniques the way you remember our podcast episodes,
I'd be a black belt.
Be a blue belt by now.
Hang on a minute.
Yeah. So I believe it's February 11th, February 12th, something like that. It's supposed to be. So goal 1 is to see where I'm at training wise, and if I can go from 5 months off to getting like 3 weeks of training under my belt, and if that's enough to compete, that's Subversion. So I haven't decided yet whether I'll pull out of that. It's going to just really depend how the elbow and sinus hold up once I'm back to proper training. And then, you know, 3 weeks is definitely not long enough to undo 5 months of no training, but, you know, maybe just jumping in the deep end's not the worst thing. I'll just jump. I'm still pretty confident in my ability. I don't, you know, I'm not.
All you need to do is just get sharp, right? You just need to get your timing back. That's it.
Yeah. You know, I'm not trash talking my opponent, but like, I actually don't really know him that well, but I'm just confident in my abilities. I'm not trying to discredit him, but even with some time off, I feel pretty confident. But yeah, so that's goal number 1, right? Past that, you know, if I don't fight Subversion, then definitely, you know, a continuing goal for 2022, I think, will be to get onto the next card. And you know, I have a pretty good relationship with them, so I feel that they would invite me to go onto the following card if I have to sit this one out due to, you know, not having recovered from the surgeries in time. But past that, I do like to set certain goals, and it changes throughout the year, but things that I want to improve on in my jiu-jitsu. If you're earlier on in your jiu-jitsu journey, like yourself, for sure you're going to make little goals, but it's maybe a little less encompassing because you're also just following your jiu-jitsu is so young. It's going to change and it's growing, and you're going to be learning new techniques all the time and following the guidance of your instructor and what have you. Whereas for myself, a lot of my study and learning is self-done, right? Like I not self-teach, like I self-study and self-solve problems and whatever. But one of the key things that I want to spend more time doing is I definitely want to spend more time this year doing more no-gi. I already did way more last year in 2021 than I had done in 2020. I started doing way more no-gi and spending way more time out of the gi, and more leg locks and leg entanglements and all that stuff. Not that I was ignorant to it before. It's just 2021 was when I was like, okay, let's formally as a team invest more time in this, and I want to increase that even more for 2022, not just for the gym and the team, but even just for me individually. I still really enjoy the gi. I still think I enjoy the gi more than no gi. Like I just love the fight that happens with the grips in the gi that doesn't exist in no gi. I don't know. I think it suits my style better, and I just enjoy it more. I like the grip aspect to fighting in the gi. However, I just want to spend more time doing no gi. I don't know why. I just feel it's not necessarily something to do with wanting to, this is the weakest part of my jiu-jitsu. It's not even that. There's just something in me. I don't have it in
something
words.
You want to pursue.
But yeah, it's just something that interests me at the moment. I think it's really important that you stay interested and invested in the part of jiu-jitsu that you want to improve. Sometimes it is a bit of a grind. You're learning things you don't necessarily want to learn, but it's important to learn. However, this is something that I'm having fun doing as well, and it's important. So it's kind of two birds with one stone. So that's just like something I want to do throughout the year. And that might change. I might get halfway through the year and then I want to, spend more time back in the gi. I don't know. But as a whole, last year, myself and the team increased the amount of no-gi that we're doing, and I want to increase it again this year. So that'll even include some timetable changes happening for our class timetable at the gym. There'll still be heaps of gi classes, but just it'll essentially go 50-50. There'll be the same.
No-gi Rob will be happy.
No-gi Rob will be stoked. Right, there'll essentially be the same amount of no-gi as gi classes. At the moment, that it's maybe 60-40. Maybe
I'd say that. Yeah,
maybe like a 60% gi, or maybe 60, a little 40, more 65% gi classes.
Yeah.
I just want to bring that closer to 50-50
Yep.
and structure it so whether you're training morning, noon, or night, like most gyms, the classes are typically run before work, lunchtime, or after work.
So it's going to alternate.
Yeah, so whether you're morning, noon, or night, whichever day of the week, like you're always going to have a gi and no gi option. So there'll be no excuse not to train. So anyone who is like, well, I don't want to use no gi Rob as an example because he trains in the gi too. Yeah. But if anyone was like, oh man, like I hate no gi, I'm only training the gi. Well, you've got that. Whether you're someone who trains morning, noon, or night.
And we even have people that only exclusively train in no-gi as well.
We do, yeah. So we have a couple people like that.
Yeah.
So that's a big goal. I have other ones, but I mean, I've been talking for so long, my coffee's gone cold. So let's.
So I'll fill the air while you drink your coffee.
Yeah. Just go ahead and mute me, Kieren, and I'm just going to go grab a coffee. Hey, you did mute me.
Wait. Anyway, I'll talk to myself. No, so I'm just to rewind a little bit. I rely on goals a lot to structure, my direction.
Can I just ask? So, like I know I said I've been talking and I want to take a break, but I don't want to go down the military path because we've spoken about that a lot and it's not the purpose of this episode. But is that something you got from being in the military, or prior to military were you still very sort of like regimented and goal orientated and list focused, if you will?
I think I definitely developed that. So I developed it in parallel with the military. Military definitely helped. It introduced me to what is possible, but it's not what you think. Not everyone in the military is like me, if that makes sense. Like
No, yeah, for sure.
goal-orientated,
Like I've met people from the military
Yeah.
who are a little bit more what you would think of like, I don't know, like carefree. They throw it to the wind or whatever.
Yeah, and not like very structured. Like the military introduced me to structure and goal setting, but then I pursued it in my own time and learned more about it. And because I used to struggle with organization, but now I'm particularly when it comes to business work and things like that, I'm very organized, like almost over the top organized. And
Have you watched any episodes of Brooklyn Nine-Nine?
I have.
The show? Do you know the character Amy?
Yes. Yeah.
You're like her with her binders and shit.
Yeah. Very similar. Yeah. So with my business partner, like the running joke is that everything's on a spreadsheet. But anyway, so these aren't my formalized like goals for 2022 yet, but they're going to be something very similar. So in preparation for this episode, I jotted down 3 of my primary goals. So the way I break it down is I have my long-term plan, so my 5-year plan, and then I have goals that are designed to progress my 5-year plan. And the goals they don't have to be in a set 12-month period, but that's just the best way I've found over the years to organize it. So I think 5-year plan, you have your roadmap, if you will, where I want to go. And then I have my annual goals to support that. And then out of the annual goals, each goal to complete it will require projects. So projects are designed similar to goals to the plan to progress the goal, if that makes sense. So it's like a tiered system. Within the projects, you have actionable items. So do this. So it's not like a to-do list. Projects are not your to-do list. Projects develop items for your to-do list. I could go in, we could do a whole episode on organization.
Let's not.
Yeah.
But actually,
Jiu-Jitsu podcast.
But even that, I've actually really never even, that's probably pretty basic stuff for anyone who's worked with project management and stuff like that.
Sure.
But, those like projects or those goals and then, goals that support getting to that 5, you think, man, they are like that sort of stuff has to be done. If you're undertaking a big project, if you think about something like, man, how do they build a bloody skyscraper or how do they build the Three Gorges Dam or something like this mega project of engineering that has like, a team of 1,000 engineers and so many construction workers and all, a lot of organization and projects and goals to work towards supporting another goal and another goal that pushes that other goal forward. And if you haven't achieved this goal after 2 years, it's like incredibly complicated projects that if you don't have this stuff literally written down, like you would never complete the project.
Yeah, I'm the same with my life.
Yeah, I've never even actually, like the way you described it, I've never actually even thought about it or had it explained to me. Like I said, it's probably pretty basic.
Yeah.
For anyone who works in project management is probably listening going, yeah, no shit, dude.
Yeah.
Anyway.
That's how I structure everything. I'm like, if I don't have something written down, like if you wanted me to do something, right, like a job or whatever, if you just verbally told me, oh, hey, can you do this? And I didn't write it down, there's 99% chance it's not going to get done because I'll forget.
What do you do if you don't have a pen?
I put it on my phone.
Everything goes. Have a phone.
It probably won't get done. Most of the time, like a lot of the time I'll be like in conversation with someone and I'll be like, oh, can you just email me that? Or like, can you just send me that in the message? They're like, why? I'm just fucking telling you now. I'm like, trust me, if it doesn't go in my like system, if it isn't captured by in my system, it probably won't get done. I'm like 99% sure that I haven't been diagnosed, but like over the years, I'm 99% sure I have ADHD.
Yours is literally like 6 a.m. wake up. 6:01.
On my calendar it's got like my wake up time.
Get out of bed. 6:02, brush teeth.
Bro, I schedule traffic. I fucking program traffic. I allow for traffic
like
in my calendar.
Traffic's in your calendar?
Yeah.
Like as in like a little buffer window?
Yeah, transit. Yep. 100%.
No way.
I'm not kidding. I can show you right now. I'm not kidding. Anyway, moving on.
Then how are you still late to the gym?
because my time management is incredibly poor. I may schedule and this is part of the ADHD thing. Like if I don't schedule shit, I will never be anywhere on time ever. And even with the system, I'm still late. But my goals, sorry for everyone that had to sit through that. Please fast forward. But my goals. So my first one is big for me, and I sort of alluded to it a few episodes ago, or even like, in the last conversations that we've sort of had, is I want to implement. This is part of my, project, if you will, of taking jiu-jitsu, like just stepping it up a little bit, stepping up to that next rung, if you will. And I want to implement daily recovery. So taking recovery seriously. Because what I've found over the last, back from lockdown, when I'm averaging 9 to 10, depending on the week, I do 9 to 10 sessions, right? And that is about 11 hours of jiu-jitsu per week. I'm training pretty hard. So I'm not recovering enough to come Thursday, I'm so cooked, or even Wednesday, even today, I'm so cooked that I'm not training even close to my output that I could be.
And I think you've started to realize that since you made the change, instead of doing those 2 classes back to back,
100%,
which is 5:30 and then the 6:30, which equates to a complete 2.5 hour session.
Yeah.
Right.
You can pace yourself. So it's one session. I agree with you.
Yeah. So you've started doing training at midday and then coming back and training at 6:30.
Yeah.
And I think that's probably when the penny dropped, where you're like, oh, my recovery isn't, because now you're doing 2 separate workouts, and you're getting way more out of it.
Yeah.
And you're realizing you're needing a bit more recovery.
Yeah. I'm needing more recovery.
Do you nap? Do you nap in between those
sessions?
Man,
I wish in a perfect world, yes. But if I have so much shit to do, man. I have so much shit to do. It's the first thing that goes.
Anyone who is anti-nap, I
hate those people.
Yeah, bro.
You're misinformed.
Get it? Yeah. You are misinformed. It's funny.
So powerful.
Sleep is something that has had a lot of study put into it, and still a lot of unknowns about it. And anything medical, I always say, I'm not a doctor. People should know I'm not a doctor. But I believe you're pretty hard pressed to find any, what would you call, a sleep specialist or whoever
who wouldn't recommend napping.
Who wouldn't recommend napping,
100%. Yeah.
So you got to, man, and it's so good for recovery.
Yeah.
When I was training twice a day, every day, I rarely didn't nap. I get what you mean. Sometimes you're busy and you got shit to do.
Yeah. But you have to try and make that time.
If the goal is the recovery.
Yeah.
Man,
you're gonna have to nap.
You got to nap.
Yeah. Competing priorities. But I definitely want to implement
Kieren's
that.
but I also got to get fucking paid, bro. Shit to do.
Yeah. So with my implementing daily recovery, what would that look like at the moment? It's mobility practice. I've been a bit slack with my mobility. I do bulletproof mobility for warm up and cool down at the gym a lot of the time, or a truncated or hybrid version of that, but dedicated 20 to 30 minutes every single day on the foam roller, or just doing some mobility practice, some stretching, some recovery protocols, starting that up again.
Well, I'll even do you a solid and I'll buy a new foam roller for the gym.
Sick, man. That'd be mad. And nutrition. And I used to do, this is sort of recovery. And the reason that I put it in the recovery pile is because it helps with sleep, as we were just talking about, is a daily mindfulness sort of practice. I used to be a real nerd about that and do it every day consistently. But I've just fallen, sometimes habits, you just fall out of favor of them, or you just stop doing them for whatever reason, even though they're good for you. That's one of mine. So that's goal number 1. And
is that going to be where you stand in front of the mirror and you're like, you are worth it?
Oh, a mantra. Fuck no.
You are beautiful.
No, it's more like your classic meditation, focusing in on your breath. Any sort of mindfulness practice. It's pretty popular these days. It's become very mainstream. I normally use an app called Headspace. So I'm a Headspace guy. So I use that. Been doing that on and off for years and years and years, last 6 or 7 years. Anyway, number 2, this is a more practical jiu-jitsu, is I just want to place first in a local comp at Blue Belt. So
great goal.
By the end of the year, I want to hit the podium at number 1 at Blue Belt. I don't expect to hit the podium in my first few, definitely, because it's going to be level up. I need to get readjusted to the level of competition. But by the end of the year, hopefully, we're on the podium or first.
That's a great goal.
And the third goal is probably one I'm most excited about, is to do 400 jiu-jitsu sessions in 1 year. And that will equate to 4,400 hours based on my current schedule. So I average 9.
How 9 a week?
9 a week average.
Yeah, right.
Some are 8. On really bad weeks, I do 8. On good weeks, or like, overzealous weeks, I do 10. But my goal is, as part of that recovery piece, is to stick with 9, because 9 is a sweet spot for me. And on top of that, I'm going to add 2 strength sessions in.
What do you think your favorite YouTube watcher, listener who swears by the best people only training twice a week would think about that, Kieren?
I don't know, man. probably frown upon it and ask why I'm not working.
Yeah,
but
I mean, it's a great goal. Anyone who is like, whoa, man, that's a lot. Yeah, it is a lot of jiu-jitsu, but I mean,
I don't do much else.
Yeah, but if it's what you're doing,
this is part of my strategy. I haven't really figured out what direction I want to take yet. And I mentioned this when we were talking about Brazil and moving overseas, whatever episode that was. And you were basically saying, from blue belt, or really white belt, but blue belt onward, you knew, hey, I want to make jiu-jitsu my career. I want to open a gym. And that's how I want to pursue it. I'm sort of in a similar camp, except I'm recognizing at the moment is that because of my skill level, I'm not in the position to make money teaching jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
I'm a long way away from that. Maybe when I get to purple belt, I could potentially do some teaching, but it's going to be slow.
Man, I've been offering up these kids classes for you to teach, Yeah, I mean, man,
I loved it. I wouldn't want to take that away from you.
I was pretty anti teaching kids classes until I
I'll
started doing it.
Like, I mean,
yeah. I think it's a part of becoming a jiu-jitsu instructor.
Yeah. It's a rite of passage. You have to do it.
Because, man, I don't know, you learn when you do it. The reason 100%. I don't do it anymore is because I still do. I teach one kids class a week. I teach the Saturday one. And obviously whenever Aaron, who currently is the kids instructor at the gym, if ever he's sick or away, I take the kids classes. The reason I don't do it now is 2 reasons. One, because I just don't have the time, and kind of correlated with that is it's just not the best use of my time. Like, I mean, I feel my jiu-jitsu knowledge and my teaching time is far better spent teaching more complicated jiu-jitsu, or not even more complicated, but more articulate jiu-jitsu, even if it's to a complete beginner, but an adult where I can actually be teaching jiu-jitsu. And for kids, that's not always the case, right?
Yeah, 100%.
Especially when you're teaching like 4-year-olds. It's a lot of games and stuff. And yeah, it's fun and you still learn. And obviously as a dad, it's cool. Like, it's not like I'm like, oh, I hate kids.
Yeah.
We'll see in a couple of years' time when Atlas is in the kids class. I don't know if I'll go back to maybe teaching it more regularly. Yeah. Or maybe I won't want to, right? Not that
maybe
I
you want to
won't
separate
but,
that.
Like,
I totally can respect that.
We'll see. But it's funny. It's Atlas, I posted ages ago on Instagram or something, him doing his jiu-jitsu positions. He knows that was funny, yes. He knows like close guard, half guard, side control, mount, and back control. And I'm trying to get him to do arm bars from mount. And I always bribe him. I bribe him with chocolate or something. No, wait, that sounds bad. It's like he's already knows he's getting this piece of chocolate or something, because I don't know. Anyone who's got kids knows things get away from you. Anyway, he knows he's getting this piece of chocolate. So I'll leverage it and be like, okay, Atlas, you got to do your jiu-jitsu positions. And so he'll do those 5 that he knows. I'm like, okay, now do an arm bar. And he always goes, no, I don't like arm bars. And I'm like, I know you don't like arm bars, but you got to practice. Yeah. Then you can have your chocolate. He's like, okay. And he'll be mount and he just holds onto my arm like a monkey. Yeah. And I just lie him down. I'm trying to teach him to bridge. And then I'm trying to teach him, okay, when I tap, you let go.
Yeah, he's going to be in kindergarten. He's going to pull like a sick arm bar.
Yeah. I'm trying to get him. He does forward rolls, trying to get him to back roll, but he can't quite do that yet. I mean, he's a bit useless, but you'll get that.
But so that's my year in a nutshell in terms of jiu-jitsu. But yeah, so I'm trying to slowly integrate more, look for more avenues to pursue jiu-jitsu a bit more quote unquote seriously, if you will, and looking outside the scope of just teaching, because I'm not obviously, man, I'm a student. Or I mean, everyone's still a student, but I'm more of a student than instructor. I'm just got my blue belt. I'm under no delusion that anytime soon I am going to be in a position to have enough knowledge to teach. So it's okay, what else can we look at in the meantime? So yeah, I'm just pursuing that at the moment. And I think that these goals for anyone out there, it's fuck, this dude's taking it super seriously. It's my hobby. Well, to me, it's like, yeah, it's a hobby, but at the same time, it's like, okay, how can we progress it so that it's more than that?
Yeah. Man, how many times can I give the analogy of it being like a university degree?
Yeah.
You wouldn't look at someone studying to be a doctor and they've got their goals of taking an extra, course on the side for anatomy or taking, or doing an extra 5 hours a week of study or something. You wouldn't look at them and be like, bro, it's just a medical degree. Like, chill out.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, you're looking at it not as a hobbyist. You're looking at it from a professional career point of view, and it, the growth of jiu-jitsu has allowed it to become a sport that can lead to you making a career out of it in terms of financially. You can now make money as a jiu-jitsu instructor, even as a competitor with the way that competitions start to offer prize money. And, or even competitions that don't offer prize money, if you're successful on the competition scene, people will book seminars with you and things like that. So you're looking at it as the same way people look at studying. Okay, it's not, it's something that is going to take years of hard work to then get your degree, so to speak, and then you can start making money from it, right? Except in this case, you're not going to have a HEX debt at the end of it, which for the
You're
international...
just going to be really poor for 10 years.
Yeah. For those who don't know, in Australia, a HEX debt is like a
student loan,
a student loan from the government, and then you'll pay it off for the rest of your life.
Yeah, but the difference is ours is interest free.
Yeah, is it?
Yeah.
I never.
Yeah, HEX debt's completely interest free. It only increases with inflation. Same rate, which is fair enough.
There you go.
Yep.
Yeah, good goals,
Not that I
bro.
haven't.
I mean, some of my other goals are going to help with that. So one of the other ones that I've got is obviously jiu-jitsu / business wise, I want the growth of the gym and the growth of the team. There's some other business / gym related goals that, they're not secrets, but they're not,
Hush, hush.
they haven't been in the oven for long enough yet to just put out there.
Stuff we're working on that,
But, Yeah, but other sort of like, I mean, look, the word embezzlement has been thrown around. No. But just some other projects that...
Laundering.
Money laundering, yeah.
Yeah.
Some other... Yeah, people come, they're like, and, oh, guys, it's finally public information, and I've just actually installed a washing machine at the gym. Here's what I mean. We're laundering. Yeah. Wash your keys here.
$2 a pop.
Yeah. So, but yeah, there's some other like...
We should do that.
Dude, I actually have thought about it. And
Some gyms do it, right?
Some gyms do it. Where
they run like a laundromat system.
Yeah, I don't think it fits like the culture in Australia in terms of like it's almost a bit weird. But some parts of the world or some like let's say for example, okay, maybe this isn't the best example, but because a lot of people in Brazil who train jiu-jitsu aren't wealthy, but Brazil has a culture of you have maids, right? Like it's not uncommon for people to have a maid in their house, like that works Monday to Friday, 9 to 5, and the maid like does all the housework. Often they do like the cooking and the cleaning and everything. I remember when I first went to Brazil, I found it weird that, after I had lunch or whatever, I just went and like put my dirty plate in front of this lady and she was just washing dishes in front of the sink, and I was like, this is weird, I was like, I don't have to clean up after myself at all. But
did you have a maid?
So yeah, like my wife's family used to have a maid like most of the time, and it's not like you don't even have to be super wealthy in Brazil because of the disparity between minimum wage and people who have a good career and whatever. Like it's so huge, you don't even have to be wealthy. Like you don't like it's not, if you think here in Australia, if you had a maid or a housekeeper or something 5 days a week, dude, like there's not many people.
Bankrolled, son. You are bankrolled.
Like even if you're making good money in Australia, you probably wouldn't have that. You might have a cleaner once a week or, a cleaner once a month.
And even
or
that,
something.
you're like, damn.
But yeah, even that the average person in Australia doesn't have, So yeah, now they don't because, they don't have 1, 2, 3, 4 kids in the house anymore and all the other things that go with it.
Right.
But anyway, So there's this sort of, because of that, there's a culture of, you could become a fully fledged adult in Brazil and have never, washed clothes before or something like that.
Wow.
So the reason I'm saying this is like Australia doesn't have that similar culture. Whereas if you imagine a country that had some type of culture like that, it's not that far-fetched of an idea for them that like, oh, after training, they just like leave their gi at the gym and it's washed for them, ready for them next time. But that would, I've never seen that service offered in Australia, and it's not like I think it's so absurd, but
fuck it. Like, it might be a little bit quote unquote weird when you first implement it and say, hey, this is happening, but it will quickly become the norm, and then you're probably fine.
Man, I have thought about it. I'm not going to lie. I have thought like, hey man, do I want to, like,
Good.
I don't know what it would be like, whether it's just like a flat, do you just charge an extra flat, like, oh, okay, your membership's an extra $5 a week, or is it do you charge per time? But then the problem that I've found with it, like the flaw in the system, is that whenever I sell a gi to a brand new student, or even to anyone, I often remind people, I'm like, don't put it in the dryer, bro. When you put your gis in the dryer, like everyone should know, like you put any clothes in the dryer, it breaks down the fabric quicker than it normally breaks down. Yeah. And that's when the rips happen.
I've ruined my white gi doing that.
Alliance Sydney's been open for coming up to 3.5 years. And in that 3.5 years, I think I've got 3 or 4 students who've had their gis rip. And every single one of them are students who put their gi in the dryer. None of my other students who have bought gis from me have had their gis rip, short of it being like, well, no, none of them. Like if they've had gis rip, it's been another gi that they've had for 5 years or something, In those 3.5 years, I haven't had anyone have their gi ripped unless it's someone who regularly puts their gi in the dryer. So the only flaw I have in the system is that there's no way that if you had a laundry service and you're washing multiple gis, there's no way they're getting washed and dried
in time
without going in a dryer.
But this could be
a way
lucrative.
to sell more gis.
Exactly. And then when their gi rips, you could also sell a gi repair service.
I almost feel like morally I would have to tell them like, look, this is how the laundry service works. It's this much. Your gi gets washed. It does go in the dryer because otherwise, so any shrinkage or ripping that is a result of it going in the, like that's how it works. If you don't want to sign up to that, then cool. Like the laundry service isn't for you.
Yeah.
Anyway, maybe that's a 2022 goal. Laundry service at the gym.
Laundry mat. Alliance laundry mat.
So we went from talking about laundering money to a whole 10 minutes of like, money. Should you have gis washed at the gym?
Yeah.
Look, it's not a bad idea.
Yeah.
Would you do it like if that was a service at a gym?
Oh, for a second there, I thought you were like, would you do it for me?
Would you wash the gis?
Would you do the washing? Well, it depends, man. Would I have done it when I first joined? Probably.
Yeah. Look, I'm not going to lie. I wash a lot of gis and it does get pretty old, like
every day.
Dude, I mean, not at the moment because I'm not training, but yeah, typically I would almost do 2 loads of washing a day every day almost.
Yeah, I try and group them together.
At least once.
I group them together.
I sometimes
do grubby,
that. But if I train at lunch and then I'm going to train at night, sometimes I'll leave that lunch gi and wait till nighttime and then wash them together.
Yeah, I do that.
But I also I've just got a habit because of, ringworm and staph infections and things like that. I've just got this habit that when I finish at the gym, I go home and the first thing I do when I walk in the door is chuck it in the machine and turn it on.
Exactly what I do. After the 6:30 class, come in, laundry, it goes on straight away. It's like a 30-minute power cycle and then straight outside.
Yeah. So, I've kind of got that habit.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's take it back a bit. So there's some goals, side projects for the gym as a business that, they're not a secret, but I just don't want to publicly mention them yet. So they're goals that are happening, but
they're a secret.
Yeah. Okay, cool. The secret, right?
Yeah. Okay. Whatever, dude. Shut up.
There were, when I said there's some of your goals that my goals would kind of align with. So 2 things that I started working on last year that got sidelined due to lockdown and everything. One was having this kind of competitors program at the gym. Essentially, without going into too much detail, it's just giving more tailored support and guidance to the students / athletes who are taking it to that next level. So not the ones that are like, oh yeah, I do the odd competition for fun or the odd competition to improve my jiu-jitsu. The ones who are like yourself wanting to go down that route of, hey man, I want to like professionally compete, or I want to open a gym one day, or the people who are taking jiu-jitsu as a career. So that's one program, I guess you could call it, that I want to implement in full swing come the new year. I mean, well, now this episode, like we're still in the very end of 2021 as we're recording this.
We're in the past.
Yeah. Whoa. But yeah, this episode's come out, I think, the 4th of January. So yeah, for this 2022, having that program in full swing. Another project that I worked on and then was about to start right before lockdown was an instructor's course. And there's so many instructors courses. I've done a lot of them. I've helped, translate them from Portuguese to English, these alliance instructors courses and all this sort of stuff. But this instructor's course, it's not necessarily something that I'm wanting to sell to the public. I don't mean like that. Like, hey guys, this is me telling you I'm going to have this course. You should buy it, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. But a lot of people who teach jiu-jitsu, they don't come from a teaching background. Right, so they might be good at jiu-jitsu, but they actually have no idea how to teach, the hows and the whys and the, reasons that you do certain things and the way, why you structure certain things certain ways and how you should be communicating to students and all those sort of things. So I sort of wrote this instructors program that's more tailored specifically to people who I want to teach in my gym. So yeah, it would be applicable to any gym. There's still tools that you're going to learn, but the thought behind it was, hey man, I want to have people who are coming up under me who want to teach. I don't just want to throw them in and be like, yeah, cool, go teach. Like I want to give them the tools to best, so they can teach to the best of their ability. So that's a course. Essentially, it'll be like a 8-week course where you do like 1 class a week sort of thing. So you have time to digest the information, and every week or every class will be a different subject in regards to teaching. And so that's a course I wrote last year, and I was about to start taking a couple of students through it essentially as the test run. Yeah. So before it was like this formalized thing that, it will be a course that will be, will come at a cost at a later date. That's not because necessarily like I didn't write it with that in mind, but obviously it just comes to a point where my time is valuable, right? And it's like, well, yeah, I kind of want to do this for free, but at the same time, I could be teaching privates, charging X amount of money, or I could be doing a seminar or, so time is money, right? So, but I was going to take these certain students, instructors through it just as essentially as the dummy run to be like, hey man, I'm going to take you through this course for free that I wrote on but the catch is at the end of it, you've just got to give me your honest feedback. Like, did you enjoy it? Did you think this was a waste of time? Is there something that you didn't learn that you wish you did? And so, so I want to have that program fully implemented as well this coming year. So, so the sort of competition team project, as well as this instructors course project, they're two jiu-jitsu related, gym related projects that I want those programs fully implemented this coming year. So gym wise, we've got more no-gi classes, the competition program, instructors program. And then for me individually, it's, getting back to training, competing in subversion, and me personally wanting to do more no-gi and improve my no-gi. And leg locks is a part of that, but not necessarily like, leg locks and all that sort of stuff. They're my goals and plans for this upcoming year. And even more with competition as well. Like, you've got your goal of getting that first win as a blue belt. Those competitors who are participating in the competitors program, you know, I have those same goals as, you know, I want all the people in that program to be getting a gold medal at their respective belt, you know, or multiple medals. Like I want them to do really well, you know, which is part of the reason of the program. I want them to achieve their goals, which are like that, get a gold medal.
Fuck yeah.
That's my whole year, bro.
Yeah.
And I'm going to get a dog.
Another one.
Nah, I've already got a dog. I'm surprised I only have one dog because dogs are the best.
Dogs.
You're probably a cat person, aren't you?
No, I'm highly allergic to cats.
Are you really?
Yeah, and dogs.
And dogs?
Yeah, I'm actually fucking, I don't know how we got onto this, but I'm actually going through in 2022, one of my personal goals is
to not be allergic to dogs anymore.
Exactly. Yeah, I'm doing a immunotherapy for like being treated for my dog allergy. Yeah, straight up.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
So how allergic? Because you've spent heaps of time with Lucy. Lucy
triggers me really badly.
Really?
Yeah. So whenever I go see Lucy is my mate Zach and my business partner. He's got a famous German Shepherd, Lucy. The German Shepherd, previously known as Lucy Lane, the Queen of Balmain.
I think that's still the Instagram handle.
I think it's still the Instagram
Lucy
handle.
Lucy Lane, the Queen of Balmain. Very beautiful German Shepherd.
And on YouTube, it's Lucy the German Shepherd. Famous, got like 1.5 million followers across multiple social media platforms. Anyway, so whenever I go see Lucy, I need to take antihistamine before I go. And I'm now
what a loser. Only 34,000 followers on Instagram.
Yeah.
I mean, the Beyond Jiu Jitsu podcast has 224. Get good, Lucy.
Yeah, get good. Get good, kid. But,
so you take an antihistamine in preparation?
Yep. I take it in preparation, and I've now been given like a prescription antihistamine, like a nasal one. But anyway, I'm getting immunotherapy. So it's like I have to either take an injection once a month or like it's kind of like a liquid medicine, like a dropper every day. So I'm going to go with the dropper. Apparently it's slightly more effective. So I'm doing that.
And for how long do you have to take that?
So it's 3 to 5 years.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Well, do you want to get a dog?
I want a German Shepherd.
Yeah, right.
So, and I'm very allergic. Yeah. Anyway.
What does your partner think about it?
She wants a dog as well.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Because I won't give her a kid, so she wants a dog. Too much information.
You should make a deal, though, and you should be like, all right, Julia, I'm going to undergo this, what do you call it?
Immunotherapy.
Immunotherapy, so we can get a dog, but only if you get your fucking peanut allergy under control. Because I need me some Reese's Cups.
Damn, yeah.
I need me some of those Bumba peanut butter chips that I brought you in.
So good. The peanut butter chips, Reese's Cups are legit the tits. I fucking love peanut butter.
Dude, even peanut butter on some rice cakes.
So good. Or like toast, like hot toast straight out of the toaster, peanut butter. Are you crunchy or a smooth guy?
I was about to ask you the same thing. Man, I think I prefer smooth, eh?
Yeah, right. Yeah.
You know, because I'm not also against eating, like I just eat eating like raw nuts as they are as well. Yeah. So it's not like I need the crunch. It's like, hey, if I want the crunch of a nut, I'll just eat nuts.
I'll go eat some nuts.
You know, I want the butteriness of the nut.
Yeah.
You know, that's why I'm eating peanut butter.
I think when I was a kid, crunchy all the way. Now that I've matured and I've seen the light, I'm a smoother guy as well.
Yeah, bro. I'm on board with that. Also, it helps like having smooth peanut butter. It's just like more, you know, you can use it for more things. If you have it in, so for example, if you're making like you wouldn't make it because Julie is super allergic, but if you're making like a peanut chicken curry or something, you know, that actually has peanut butter in it.
Satay chicken.
Yeah, like exactly like a satay chicken or something.
You don't want a crunchy.
I don't want crunchy. Nah, just give me some smooth, bro.
What type of, I prefer natural peanut butter as well.
Yeah, same. Nah, I don't buy any of that. What, you know, in America
Craft
it would be like
shit.
Jiffy.
Oh my God, it's so bad. There's one, I think there's one called Skippy as well.
Skippy, that's fucking
it's
terrible.
Disgusting. It's like loaded with sugar and it just doesn't taste like peanut butter.
No, the absolute, like the most processed peanut butter I would buy is only if I can't find, sometimes you find one that are like ingredients, you know, peanuts and salt, but ideally I don't even get that. Like if I can find the ones that's just 100%, you know, peanuts.
Yep.
Or, you know, or almond butter, 100% almonds or something.
Nice.
They're the ones I get.
What's your favorite brand of peanut butter?
Dude, I don't know what the brand is, but I just get this one from the supermarket that is, I think
it's called Mavis.
Maybe.
It's probably
is it
Mavis.
One where they do all, like they also have like peanut and chia seed and chocolate.
It's
and
Mavis. Bro, I was addicted to that
And they're
shit.
like $5 a jar,
Dude,
which is like pretty standard price. I ain't buying none of that craft peanut butter.
When I was competing in bodybuilding, peanut butter was like a staple, healthy fats in my diet plan. And then my without getting into too much detail, when you compete, you need to eat between sets, between shows, and before you get there, before you step on stage, because you need to basically glycogen load to make your muscles look full, right? So you want the sugar without any water. So you're dehydrated, but you smash sugar to.
You could get an elbow surgery like I just did. My biceps are pretty swole right now.
From bicep to fingertips.
Even
you got a Popeye arm, dude. It's gnarly. But yeah, so that was the food that I used, like peanut butter on crackers. And oh my God, it's fucking like, it's like crack to me. And at one point I had like 5 jars of Mavers in the cupboard and I'd just eat it by the spoonful.
I believe you can outgrow allergies, food allergies.
Yeah, I think you can. Yeah.
You just like put some peanut butter on a sandwich and be like, she can just test it out. Trial by fire, bro. Sink or swim, bitch.
We'll just get an EpiPen ready.
Yeah, but like from what you've told me, she's severely allergic.
Not so much anymore. She used to carry an EpiPen around, but not so much anymore. She doesn't even have an EpiPen anymore. And I mean, I've had peanut butter before.
Because EpiPens expire.
Yeah. So she doesn't even have one. So it's not like she's going to go into anaphylactic shock or anything, I don't think. Yeah. But she's faking it. Yeah. She's fucking faking it,
She's faking it, bro. She's just like, for some reason, hates
it's a power play.
And hates peanut butter.
It's a long-term power move.
Guys, on power moves, I don't know, nothing on power moves. But anyway, episode's over. Piss off.
That's the power move.
I think, even if you're not a New Year's resolution person or goal-orientated, the best way to improve your jiu-jitsu is have some sort of direction. You don't just walk into the gym to lift weights and be like, yeah, that one looks good, and pick it up. So have some sort of direction. If you're earlier on in your jiu-jitsu journey, it's going to be a little bit harder or not necessarily as applicable. Your goals might be more short-term, get better at this sweep, or, get better at, submitting from guard or something like that.
Yeah.
If you're a bit further on in your journey, like I am, it might be something a little bit more open, like doing more no-gi or getting better at leg locks, or, improving your bearing bolo or whatever it is. But definitely have some sort of direction, some goals like, I want to do 3 competitions this year, or there's nothing wrong with setting goals like, I want to get my blue belt this year or purple belt this year.
Yeah.
But keep in mind with those goals, to some extent, they're out of your control. What I mean by that, to some degree, because it's always going to come at the discretion of your instructor. So if you do have the goal of 2022, I want to get my purple belt, and you don't get it, maybe you did everything right, but your instructor just decided you're not ready, or they want to hold you a little bit more, or
maybe they're just a massive dick.
Maybe they're a massive dick. Maybe they have a massive dick, right? Or they just want you to do one more competition at whatever belt. Okay. So, maybe it's because you didn't do enough. Like, I really want to get my purple belt this year, and you trained once a fortnight for the whole year. So
Mate.
I'm not going to say it's out of your control, but don't bum yourself out if that goal isn't achieved, because it still does hang on, one other person's opinion or decision.
Exactly.
So the final piece of that puzzle is out of your control. But, it's still a good goal to have. Get your purple belt, X amount of competitions this year. Maybe there's that dude in the gym that's a good reference point for your training. Man, I want to tap so-and-so. That can be a good, friendly goal. Like, it doesn't need to be any hatred behind it. They're
tapping a black belt this
year. Yeah. Your training partners, it's like weights in the gym. Man, I want to tap, Steve. That could be no different than, man, I want to deadlift 120 or whatever it is that's your goal. Set these goals, man, and if they're little goals, then set a lot of them for the year. If they're big, overwhelming goals, maybe some people are sitting here going like, man, we said there's some people in the gym who never train in the gi, right? Like, literally, we have a couple of students who they've never trained they refuse, they only train no gi. Man, maybe set your goal this year is to train some gi.
Yeah. I've just realized when you were saying that, like, if you can't tap this person, your goal is to tap that person. I've just realized that maybe I'm now in the position where some people want to try and tap me, and I'm like their benchmark, and they're like, oh, I want to tap Kieren this year.
Yeah,
you know, fuck, come at me.
Yeah,
that's cool.
There might be, you make it to this point where people will be using you as a reference or
see if they can catch me.
Yeah. Have you ever stopped to think that, there's probably at least one person in the world that's going to use your death as an excuse not to go to something? There'll be someone in the world that when you come to passing away, that they'll be like, oh man, I can't work today. I'm real bummed out. My friend Kieren died. Or like,
damn, son.
Like, man, I can't work. There's funeral to go to, but they're not going.
Oh.
Someone will use your death as an excuse to get out.
That's
of
terrible.
Socially.
It's terrible.
Something social or.
Why wait?
You're dead to me anyway.
Yeah. Oh shit. But just on like, if you are a white belt and you're not quite sure on how to structure your year, you're like, maybe you just started training, maybe you've been training for a little while and you're looking toward that blue belt and you want some more direction. A bit of a shameless plug, but it's legitimate. Check out episode 44, where Adam basically outlined everything that you should be focusing on for your blue belt test. And if you use that as a goal, as what we discussed in that episode and what Adam said were the things you should be focusing on, particularly if you are a white belt, I highly recommend starting there, giving that a listen, taking just some notes, and then from that, with your own experience and your own level of jiu-jitsu, formulate the areas that you want to focus on and formulate your goals from that. That's what I recommend.
That's great advice, Kieren. And not even a shameless plug, just a great plug.
Yeah.
Yeah, almost as good as a butt plug.
Yeah.
But a great plug nonetheless.
Almost.
Yeah. All right.
On butt plugs.
On butt plugs, we'll leave it there, eh? Next episode is a little special one, I think, for us. Like, it's a mini milestone.
Yeah.
I guess we didn't really realize it, but, it's episode 50, so a half century. I don't know if – I'm not going to say like, oh, I didn't know if we would make it to episode 50 like when we started. But I don't know. Like, I think it's – we'll talk more about it next episode. But, yeah, episode 50.
Yeah, we got some special stuff.
Yeah, like I'll save it for next episode.
Save it for the podcast.
Save it for the podcast, bro.
Catch you guys.